Yankees win 7-1 over the Astros. Jake, that's a huge win. Max Fried for a while there. Jake, we've been covering the blister issue for what feels like a month and a half, 2 months. It just, like, time stopped. But since that blister, I mean, he objectively has been a bad pitcher for the most part, right? And, of course, there goes YouTube. Anyway, ERA north of 6 since the break. He struggled with command, spin, right? Spin rates declined. Jake, you actually brought up those numbers. Every single pitch he had was worse, right? Michael K talked about it. There's no pitch he has that's where it was in the first half. And these last 3 starts, Jake, home against Boston, that's an important game. It's a game that at the time we felt like that's a huge game, probably the biggest game of the year so far. 6 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs. Home against Washington, 7 innings, 7 full. That's a strong start. 4 hits, 1 earned run. And then people after that start in our comments or anywhere else said, that's a big start, but it's against Washington at home. You should take care of that team. Okay, fine. Well, how about at Houston? Everyone's talking about the momentum, and yeah, you guys beat up on all the jabronis of the league. What are you going to do in these series? This is where it really starts. This is the season for the Yankees. Max Fried, 7 full innings, length, 4 hits, again, 1 earned run. And this isn't the season, in my opinion, Jake, that we necessarily would have asked for, right? You get an ace for 13 starts out of Fried. You get essentially a minor leaguer for his next 4 starts, to the point where, Jake, I actually thought you had a real case there. You wanted to throw Fried on the IL and get him right, get that spin rate back, make sure he's healthy, and they just stuck it out. But it seems like we're back. He's right on time. This start, in my opinion, solidifies all momentum that the Yankees have. And is it just a foregone conclusion of what's going to happen the next 2 weeks? No. But if the Yankees had lost this game, I think everyone, maybe even rightfully so, would have been in our comments saying, this is what they actually look like against good teams. This was a huge win. It's not just the Sox, the Nationals, and the Cardinals, the White Sox. These are important games. So huge day from Jazz Chisholm. Felt like his first important offensive day. I know he has big numbers overall, but today was different. And Jake, what else did we have? Framber Valdez, I know you were just talking about it pre-show, intentionally crossing up his catcher didn't like the call from his catcher. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows in Houston. We've beat them 8 straight games in Houston. So your prompt, Jake, you made this prompt. Are the Yankees the top dog in the American League? We see you guys in the Supers. Thank you guys for being here, of course. Are we the top dog? I'm going to say we have the most momentum. That's where I'm going to stand with this team. I don't think it's anything that we've solidified long-term as far as postseason goes, but we are for sure as far as our momentum, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Blackburn looked good today. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you think he'd be on the team up until this point?
No, I thought he was long gone, but he's still here.
Yeah.
Look, had fun highlighting all those. Yes, Marion, these, well, I wouldn't call them new glasses. I've had them for a while and kind of rediscovered that I had them. And I was looking for a different look. I've never seen you in these
in my life.
Yeah, what do you think?
I like them.
All right.
Yeah, I like them.
The aviator glasses, I wear aviators all the time during the summer, so it's like,
I feel like you used to wear glasses, though, because remember you took them off and you're like, look how blind I look?
Yeah. I can't see anything right now.
Yeah, like, you don't look like you can see.
Yeah, I love that you say that because I can't see shit. So we're going to put those back on. But no, today was exactly what the doctor ordered, right? The Yankees needed this win. We knew that. But the way the Yankees just dominated this game is what leads me to believe that there's more to come. This isn't just, this is a good win. No, this is exactly how you're supposed to respond when you have a road trip and an off day, a travel day before said road trip, okay? This was big. And this is still part of said road trip because they also were just in Chicago. Would have loved to see them win that game. But what did I say? Said, if you lose that game, but you win the first game against the Houston Astros, I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. And guess what? The biggest thing today, I understand they had 2 home runs, right? Made up literally all of their scoring. 7 runs came from home runs, 2 of Jazz, 2 Grisham. We'll talk about Jazz. Don't worry, Jazz fans. And I am definitely one of them. We'll talk about him. We're going to talk about Grish, but I want to talk about Max Fried more because Max Fried, however far the Yankees want to go, they need their ace. And yes, I didn't misspoke, okay? I didn't misspeak. He is their ace right now. Garrett Cole is not available. So Max Fried's their ace. He is going to take them as far as he takes them. And the hope is he's going to take them really far. But Max Fried has been sensational since coming back from that blister. And I saw the comment, Jake, do you want to admit that you were wrong about the blister? No, I actually probably would say I was right because he's clearly come back from it. But the issue was the blister was affecting it. Gary, you mentioned the numbers. The numbers showed it, the spin rate. If you've been following the numbers are back to where they were. So a craft pitcher, right? That's that. So I feel like Max Fried today was awesome. And I think the important thing here is that the Yankees, and I was telling you this off air, is that this is a team that they were getting bailed out in a lot of games earlier in the year because of their starting rotation. And then, magically, how things work, their starting rotation starts to drop off. And, what is that, Gary? They start to lose games. They're losing games that they won previously. Well, why is that? Well, now you're having to use the bullpen more. The bullpen starts to struggle because now you're using them more than ever, and they were getting banged up. But let's just not give them an excuse there. They were also just not good. We talked about this. Then you have the hitters. The offense isn't scoring 20 runs anymore, right? Like the beginning of the year, they were like teasing us with, oh my God, they start struggling. So really, I feel like this rotation is the season. The offense is just too damn talented to just not like put it together when you need it. They'll just find a way. I believe that. I believe if they need a home run late in a game or they need a hit, like I trust Cody Bellinger. I don't trust the entire lineup, but I feel like they have guys in that lineup that can execute. But the rotation, you just don't know what you're going to get in any rotation. We've seen the Dodgers. They've had some incredibly talented pitchers. They've dealt with injuries. They have guys on paper that you would think, this is a monster rotation. Nobody's beating them. And Gary, you said last episode, you don't see the Dodgers. For whatever reason, you don't see them winning it. I agree with you. So it's really going to come down to the rotation, Gary, and I think this is why it was such a right step in the right direction to get Max Fried going. And look, hindsight's 2020. I still think if putting him on the IL, I think putting him on the IL might have been the right move. I stand by that, but it worked out, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, so for me, it's sort of defending your take there. It's not even really an opinion. It was more so about math. If you're pitching and you're a guy who sits 98 miles an hour and all of a sudden you show up and you start seeing a guy 92, 93, what does everybody say on the broadcast? There's something wrong with that guy. We actually had that exact same conversation about Kevin Gausman. You remember that conversation we had? We said, why is he throwing 91? There's got to be a problem here. There must be something wrong physically. And yet, eventually you started seeing 3 or 4 starts later, the 97, 98 came back. Now, what was the problem? We don't know. But it was more so about the spin rate. If you're a craft guy, which I still think Max Fried is a craft pitcher, he's location, he's getting you off balance. I'm going to throw an overhand curveball. I'm going to get you out front. I'm going to maybe speed you up, right? And then I'll blow the fastball right by you. That's going to be how I want to do business. I'm not just going to throw 100 by you all day. That's how he pitches. It's more of what we saw from CC Sabathia, and I love that. But having said all of this, when the spin rate, I would imagine, and now I don't have the numbers here. I know you were talking about there's been a slight uptick, which is good on Fried's spin rate. I would venture to say that spin rate has bounced closer to the mean. That's just a guess I have. Now, we'll find that data and we'll put it up on screen. Cheeky Monkey says, is Blistergate finally over? It feels like we've recovered from that. Now, it's bounced back to the point where Fried's had a blister before. It's healed itself. They put him on the IL. And it was a problem the same year, just several months later, We can't have that happen. Obviously, the Yankees can't afford that to happen. That's why Jake also wanted to be so careful with it. I'm on the same page as you, Jake. No questions asked. But I do think, by the way, when we were judging this signing with Fried, he's not good in big games. And we're talking October. And the sample size isn't large. But there's really no way to simulate big games in Atlanta. And I'm not trying to make fun of their organization, but there's a difference between pitching for the Braves in September and pitching for the Yankees in a pennant race. Very different. And I think everyone can admit that. So I think my takeaway on Fried is this is really good practice. These starts that he's going to have at Yankee Stadium down the stretch, if you want to know what Fried's going to look like, can you trust him? Can you consider him our ace? Is this momentum real? Well, this momentum's fake if Fried's not going to be good in big games. Well, he just showed you against Boston at the stadium, yeah, I'll dominate. At Houston, yeah, on the road, yeah, I'll go ahead and dominate. Ball's on the ground all day. I'll find a way. Right now, I trust him. I just do. I had the exact same conversation about Rodon earlier this year. I said, show me, don't tell me. He showed me. I covered it a certain way. So very proud of that start. I mean, it was just big time. Want to kick it off with Ninja Hot Dog with a super. Ninja, thank you for the 5. Says, remember, the Yanks dominated in the 2019 ALCS, and we all know how that ended. I can't be positive until we keep this up, but we did have good stuff. So we don't have to trust in anything they do. At least we could admit the momentum has to mean something. If it were me and we were going back, say, 2 months ago, if the Yankees from 2 months ago walked into this game, they would have found a way to lose this game. You just sort of know that you really want to win this game, they would just give it away somehow. We have no idea how. Grisham would have found a way not to do what he did. Jazz Chisholm was big in smaller games against smaller market teams, and then games like this, no one would show up. Jazz Chisholm showed up today. Our ace showed up today, all in big games. So very proud of this performance. You guys don't have to buy into it that you can go purchase your World Series tickets now. I'm not telling you to do so, but Jake, I'm pretty happy about tonight's win.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely am, too. I'm glad we started with Max Fried because it's hard, man. You know, we talk so much about hitters and fielding, and we do miss, talking about the pitchers at the beginning, and then it feels like, at the end, we're just like kind of whatever. We're talking about them. There's a super chat. So I really wanted to make sure we hit on Fried because that 7 innings now gives them a heavy advantage in this. I mean, this series, the Yankees have no excuse. They could sweep the Astros just because of the job Fried did today.
Who pitched again after Fried? Could you remind me?
Blackburn, right?
Just
2 innings.
Blackburn.
So, and they used 3 guys. So they didn't use a ton. I mean, they used De Los meatballs for 2 innings, and
it's more about us, good. Though. That's the gist of it. It's more so about the fact that Fried as an ace was not only dominant. The offense pulled their weight. They scored 7 runs. That's plenty for your ace against anybody. I don't care if you're playing the Dodgers, San Diego. I don't care who you're playing. That's enough. They gave him 7. It was plenty. He gave you a repeat performance of that Boston series. You walk in here, the game's essentially out of hand. They go with Blackburn. You saw Devin Williams warming up right beside him. If the game got a little closer, they probably would have gone with Devin Williams. But you see the fact, the point that you're bringing up here, Jake. We just went through a day off and then another day off for the bullpen. Yeah. So when you look up and say, well, how's Cruz? He's been banged up all year. How's he going to stay healthy? How is Weaver going to stay healthy? He dealt with the hamstring earlier this year. How's he going to stay on the field and make sure that he can go multi-inning during a pennant race in late September? Well, having multiple days off in early September will help. It'll suffice.
No, I definitely agree. And I think the big thing is to always remember is just because you had an off day doesn't mean you're going to come out firing on all cylinders, right? And right. That's really the thing is that they were, and I understand they lost, but they were in this like hot streak where they've won 12 of the last 16 or whatever it was. And it's like you go into that off day and we're excited about it, but that could have gone south today and it didn't. And that's a sign that they've kept momentum, intact despite losing and having an off day. I am very excited to see what this team does because they got some big games ahead. You got the rest of this Astros series. You got Toronto. You got Detroit. You got the Red Sox. I mean, obviously you have your Orioles and another White Sox series. We've talked about that. We've covered that. The Twins again, we know. But these 4 upcoming series and the one that they're currently in, they are the season. Because what I think is the best recipe to getting to the World Series is winning that number 1 seed. It's not just winning the AL East. That doesn't suffice to me. They need to win the number 1 seed. That is how. You want to shorten the amount of games that you have to play. You do not want to be in the wild card. I think in past, the wild card was a format that I thought honestly benefited those teams to a degree. Now, not at all. So you don't want to be in the wild card, and we'll see. I mean, I just think, and I guess we'll use this super to kind of go into it. You're a mean one, Mr. Grish. Thank you for the 2. Trent Grisham. We can talk about, what he means to the team in 2026.
What do we even make of this?
But,
I mean, what do we
but
even
right
do
now,
with this, man?
I'm choosing to look at it a little differently. I can sit here and say, pay Grisham, pay Grisham, pay Grisham. Or I can just enjoy what I'm watching right now. It's 2025. It is early September. This guy's about to have 30 home runs. And not just that, but his ability to get on base, right? Trent Grisham, I am happy to say I was wrong about on multiple occasions. Not only that, I understand the logic I had to trade Trent Grisham, but that was wrong too. Even though I understand that, like, my heart was in the right place, is like, yeah, you trade him, you get the most out of him. He's not a guarantee to come back. And now you can call up a Spencer Jones, whatever, right? Give Jason Dominguez more run. It was the right move not to. And I actually started feeling this way towards the end, if you remember. I'm like, maybe they shouldn't trade Trent Grisham. And there was a big reason. What was that? Because of how important he is to the clubhouse. He's a veteran presence on a team that is trying to win a World Series. He's a veteran presence on a team that it has a lot of vets. You have, 36-year-old Giancarlo Stanton. You have 37-year-old Paul Goldschmidt. You have Aaron Judge. You have Garrett Cole. I mean, I understand Cole's not playing right now, but this is a team that has some older guys. And I just feel like Grisham, he's integrated so well into the Bronx. And I'm just really excited to see what he can continue to do, because you see this play. This is the type of play that's going to translate to October. It just is, because he makes every at-bat like an event. Like, you see it, and he's taking pitches, and he's making guys, he's working counts. And then he gets to 3-2, and now he has all the advantage. It's no different than Stanton. He doesn't hit as hard as Stanton, but yeah, I think it's a big deal what we're seeing from Trent Grisham, and also kind of that, that versatility. You can hit him first, you can hit him fifth, sixth, whatever. It's really giving Boone a lot to work with as well, because now, even now he's hitting lefties, and that was something he wasn't doing. So, yeah, Grisham, if you tried, touching the shoulder of Grisham, your hand would burn off. He is on absolute fire.
Yeah, and let's be fair. A lot of the people that wanted to trade Trent Grisham, and at one point of the season I was saying, I couldn't even remember, there was a point where I said, hey, I think you guys should just trade Jason Dominguez, and that wasn't me saying that Jason Dominguez is not a good baseball player. That was me saying, I think I really like what's already on the field. Because when you have prospects, the whole point of a prospect is that they get on the field and they perform. Well, what position does that player play? If he plays outfield, I like our outfield. I like Cody Bellinger. I like Aaron Judge. I like Trent Grisham. Do I need a Jason Dominguez? And obviously, Jake, you're very high on Spencer Jones, and there needs to be a spot for him. Now, obviously, you can move one of our outfielders, and Cody Bellinger, if we resign him, which we should, into the infield, and that's good. But when you look at this player, and there are a lot of people who are saying we need to resign him. There are people who are saying he's going to get too expensive for us. And we're the Yankees. There's no such thing as too expensive for the Yankees. Now, they may think that, but that's ridiculous. If a player's performing for you, I think going with another player and then hoping that player, whether they're young or not, is going to replace what you just gave up in free agency, I don't think that's a risk worth taking. It's certainly a risk paying Trent Grisham. I don't care what anybody says. It's a risk. He wasn't great his first 4 or 5 years in the league. And then he was on your team and you had Alex Verdugo and you said, hey, he's not going to play over Verdugo. We just like the glove too much in left field. What a ridiculous choice that was. Horrible, right? And in hindsight, where would we have maybe won a World Series? Who knows? We don't know where it would have taken us. All I know is Alex Verdugo was a very bad baseball player in 2024. And if you just threw Trent Grisham, this year's Trent Grisham, even anywhere close to this type of output, where would that 2024 Yankees team have been? Who knows, right? But I'm just looking at this player and thinking to myself, it's interesting. It's an interesting situation that Brian Cashman's found himself in because, in my opinion, you can easily, and HS with the super with the 5, HS, thank you, says Grish is not a fluke. He's breaking out at age 28, a late bloomer, former first-round pick. There's tons of raw power in his frame. This is what San Diego saw, right? This is why Padres fans have been asking for years, why are we starting this? Why? He'll hit a random home run where he's got raw power. He's got a short swing, but he doesn't put it together. It's just, you look up and he's hitting 212. He can flag it in center field. We're not complaining about that, but I'm not going to pay you $10+ million a year down the road to do that. And being a first round pick doesn't mean anything unless you put it together. So Jake, I like this mentality that, yeah, he is only 28. That's true. Sometimes players take time. But a lot of times there are other players that maybe they just have a career year and they regress right back to the mean. So I just think right now with what Trent Grisham's doing for this team is just too important to try it with anybody else to replace that. I just think it's just too much right now for the Yankees. And if you end up being wrong a year or two later, as you said, Jake, maybe you can flip him somewhere else if it doesn't work. But this player right now, he's going to hit 30+ homers and play great defense. I mean, where else would you get that on the market?
No, absolutely. And I think you go back to his second year where he had an 808 OPS, and the thing that really stands out to me is on base at 352. He's got 356 currently, and I look at Grisham, and the thing that stands out to me, obviously the home runs we're going to talk about, he's going to have 30+ like you mentioned, but it is the on base percentage going from 290 last year, and I mean he only had 179 at bats, right? But 290 last year. Now he's in the 350s, just like he was in his second season. Another thing that I find really interesting is that when you look at Grisham, he's had moments, like he's gone on runs in his career. This has been very consistent this season. So the batting average isn't going to wow you. He's hitting in the 240s, but that's still a really good player. And the thing is, like, the on-base percentage is almost way more important because this is a guy who you have leading off most of the time. So, I mean, I said it last year, when you figured out Gleyber Torres and he became one of the best leadoff hitters in baseball, I said bringing him back just seems like a no-brainer. So they didn't do it last year. Here's the difference. I think Gleyber's back if he was an okay fielder. I think they felt like he was way too much of a negative, and it was hurting their chance, their crusade, if you will, trying to fix their infield defense.
That's fair.
But Trent Grisham, as you mentioned, is a good fielder. Good. So, and also the Yankees have their own analytics, so who knows? They might have elite fielder, right? We don't know. So Trent Grisham is checking all the boxes. There's not a lot of negatives here. And I think the thing that really stands out to me is that on-base percentage. That is what you can justify. And the fact that he's done it before in a season tells me that maybe he was finding something early on in his career, and then, you have different coaches, and they're telling you to work on different things. And for whatever reason, now he's kind of fixed it. I mean, let's just, think about it for a sec. I mean, it makes a lot of sense here, right? He's breaking out 28. Yeah, this is his prime. Your prime starts at 27, goes to 32, right? Give or take.
Hey, I'm in my prime. Love that.
Yeah, right? All downhill from there afterwards. No.
Yep.
But, I mean, this guy's pretty damn consistent. Like, I just think you're in a tough position. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a no-brainer because he is going to command a lot of money. But I just feel like when you look at just the role he's carved out in New York, what do you look like without him? This is not a player I initially looked at like that. This is a player that I looked at, yeah, he's a guy, he's cool. He'll be gone. But now it also changes your trajectory a little bit, because if you pay him and you pay Cody Bellinger and you got Aaron Judge already paid, well, then now Jason Dominguez becomes a luxury. And do you want a luxury, or do you want more of like a trade bait?
You can also make the argument that Spencer Jones suddenly, it might be a situation where he either has to move into first base, which certainly we wouldn't be surprised if he can do it, right? Looking at the profile, super athletic kid.
Of course.
But at the same time, the Yankees might look at it and say, we don't want to do that. They didn't want to do it with Bryce Harper. So having said that, do they want to do it with somebody who's going to be a rookie next year, who hasn't developed at first base? So it just creates more problems, even though he's part of the solution. Now, when you mention his on-base percentage, first of all, it's a sign of a great player, because drawing a walk's a lot harder than what people think it is. Mm-hmm. But every time people tell me, right, they talk about Juan Soto, right? And people will say, oh, he's hitting 259, or last year, they say generational hitter. Well, it's not. You mentioned his batting average in the 240s. Have you ever looked at Juan Soto's batting average and felt that batting average is generational? He's hitting 259 this year. For us, which everyone called a great year, I completely agree. He hit 288. 275 with the Padres, 236 with San Diego, 246 with Washington. Those are all in order. None of that's generational. You want to know why it's generational? What's generational is his ops. That a lot of times is how the game is judged today. Can you get on base? Can you slug? Can you field your position? That's actually why we went out and got Joey Gallo. If you guys remember correctly, when they traded for him, they said he's going to slug. He's an underrated fielder. You guys are going to be really happy with it. Now, Jake, you knew it wasn't going to be a fit, right? Your dad clearly knew it was not going to be a fit. But having said all this, the most value, what GMs are looking for, is exactly what Trent Grisham's doing right now. So when everyone's wondering, why don't they care about hitting more than 250? Like, they'd like to if they could, but they'd rather be a 240 hitter with pop. Like, they'd rather be Kyle Schwarber. You know why? Because if I take my walks and hit 240 and I've got pop, I've always got a job. That's why.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what someone's going to pay this kid. And I can't believe, again, I learned something new this year. I didn't know Trent Grisham was 28. I didn't. So the fact that, and I knew obviously several months ago, but Trent Grisham, when you have this type of season and it's in this market, do you really think the Mets are going to look? Do you think he can play at Citi Field? He played at Yankee Stadium. Of course he can play for you guys. Do you think the Dodgers are looking across the way saying, do you think he can come play for us in the NL West tough division? He can play for the Yankees. Trent Grisham can do this anywhere, and he's now proven it. So, yeah, I like that you brought up the fact this is not an easy answer. I personally would bring Grisham back at this point. I just think he's doing too much. But if they say no, it also just opens the playing field for a Jason Dominguez or a Spencer Jones. That could work wonders. It also could be the worst thing you ever did in your life. Spencer Jones can show up and hit 236, and Jason Dominguez can hit 250 with 19 homers. You're not replenishing this type of production. They've got to hit. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love the way you worded that. And I think, like, if Spencer Jones comes up and he hits 240 and let's say he hits 30 bombs or whatever, and Jason Dominguez improves, we'll say he doesn't regress, he improves, and we're talking about hitting 270, and maybe you're looking at early season Bellinger, where he hits like around 270, 15 homers, right? Because early season Bellinger looked like he wasn't going to hit for power, and then all of a sudden
definitely a contact bat. Yeah.
So if you get 270, 15 homers, and defense that is marginally better than this year, right? And then you have Spencer Jones, who has really good defense. He's hitting 30 home runs, and he's hitting 240. Do you take the 240, 30 home runs, and good defense over the 15 home runs, the 270, but maybe a little bit better than bad, still below average defense?
Probably takes you a little bit away, which is probably a good thing, because there are a lot of fans still. in our comment sections, in a lot of other podcast comment sections that said, hold on a second, the one worry I have about this Yankees team is what Trent Grisham's good at, which is still highly serviceable, is kind of what I don't like, which is that if the Yankees slug, we're going to win. We're going to be fine. That's how we score. Like you mentioned today, we had a grand slam and then Jazz hit 2 homers. Okay, good things, but do you want the only offense to be power? And so going away from Trent Grisham, if they do that, it's going to be the much cheaper option. And again, I'm not telling you we should do this, but if they did it, they could also say we're trying to go a little bit away from the boomer bust mentality, walk, home run, strikeout. We're going to bring in a Jason Dominguez full-time, and he's more of an all-around player. So I don't know. I don't love that direction, but it's certainly maybe not the best choice. It is a choice.
It is a choice. I like the way you said that. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Glad I don't have to make the decision, but they're going to have to. And this, unlike what other people say, is a good problem to have. This is a good problem to have. I don't know who to pay. I don't know who to play. I don't know who to buy into, who not. Because you have 5 outfielders, 6 outfielders. I mean, that's pretty damn good. That's a good problem to have. Now,
Spencer Jones, I'm excited about. Even Jason Dominguez, if we technically, like, Grisham didn't exist at all, I'd be excited to see, like, if Jason Dominguez can, like, kind of get it going, the power numbers, whatever it is. But the fact that those guys exist now, like, they're actually in the fold, it's really hard to buy into the future of young when you've got the now of this type of production. It's very difficult.
This is why when we were talking about the outfielders and why like an outfield top prospect doesn't hit it the same as like a shortstop or like a starting pitcher top prospect.
Right.
It's hard to find like really good starting pitcher prospects. Really good, right? It's hard to find really good catching prospects or really good shortstops. It's not hard to find outfielders. There are outfielders all over this league. There are guys that you've never heard of before that barely get any playing time that are probably good enough. And I think this is a good reminder. You see Spencer Jones. You see what he is, right? What he is in AAA anyway. And he's not even in the majors, right? They didn't call him up. So how many Spencer Joneses are there out there? You know? That's the thing. Like, so it's not an easy decision. Jason Dominguez, I'll say this to be entirely fair to Jason Dominguez. He doesn't have to increase his pop at all. At all. I'm okay with the batting average if it continues to go up, as long as his defense improves. I would take an average defender, Jason Dominguez, but I only get 20 home runs out of him.
I'm going to tell you right now, because how high did you say that average needs to get?
270.
See, if I get 270 with league average defense and 20 homers, I don't let players that are hitting 30-plus homers with good defense already in its own right at 28, I don't let them walk to be replaced by potentially that.
I agree with you.
If Jason Dominguez is actually going to step into this Trent Grisham role in 2026 and they're just going to give him the keys and drive the car, well, it's not going to look like 270. Like, that's not a top prospect. With all due respect, you're not hitting 270 with 20 bombs. And I know for a fact Jason Dominguez isn't going to go past the threshold of league average defense. And there's value in league average defense, by the way. It has to be said. Being league average is a good thing. But if you're average in one thing, you need to be exceptional in the other, and that's what makes you worth being a top prospect. But if you're hitting 270 with 18 to 20 homers, like you're not game-changing pop, that's not going to be good enough, in my opinion. And that's why I think a lot of people are starting to say, maybe I should start looking this way to this guy who is doing it. So I think it's all interesting. I don't think we'll know what the right or wrong answer is at the time of signing, but we will know halfway through next year. We will. And we're going to cover that when it happens. And Apex with the 2 says Yarby can act as long reliever for Warren tomorrow.
I like it.
I love that.
Double-barreled action like we saw last year with Schmidt and Nestor.
Yeah, and I do think, guys, that's probably a little bit of a conservative play for the Yankees. I don't think they're going to jump to Yarby out the bullpen. I think if Will Warren gets himself in trouble early in the game and they feel like, all right, the bases are loaded, we're in the third inning, and we're already down 2-0, they might flip the ball to Yarborough, get themselves out of the inning, and then keep him in the game. That would work. But if Warren is solid and the Yankees offense shows up tomorrow, I can't see them going anywhere other than high leverage, because the Yankees have to know. You look at the standings, these are must-win games. They just are. You've got 27 games left in the season. They're going to be looking at Devin, Williams, Cruz. Cruz is going to be the first guy out the bullpen. They're throwing their top guys, right? Weaver's going to pitch tomorrow. So, yeah, love the fact that Yarby's in the mix. Love the dude, but I just can't see them throwing him in the mix in high leverage. But if he finds himself in a long relief situation, by all means, go ahead.
And it goes back, by the way, to Fried. I mean, he gave the Yankees a legitimate shot to sweep this series.
Yes,
they're in a really good spot now. They still see Javier, and then Jason Alexander pitched well against the Yankees last time, but Will Warren can do this thing. I believe in Will Warren. We'll see what ends up happening, but this is a really good position to be in. You got Rodon and Will Warren, and you have a full bullpen. I mean, they're ready to go. So it's definitely a good sign right now. Let's see. Hope for Fried's Toronto start. I think 2 out of 3. Is that what I'm reading here?
Hope for Fried's Toronto start. I think 2 of 3. What does that mean?
Like they're going to win 2 out of 3? I would assume he didn't mean like February 3rd.
Yeah. Okay. So, I see now.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it from this point of view. We can't look at these games and these series as must sweeps because they're not. Toronto's not a great team. Neither are we. Boston's not a great team. They're very good. I think when these teams are playing the type of baseball you saw from Boston fresh out the break, you're like, oh, that team right there, that's a very good team. I wasn't looking at it and saying, oh, that's the great team that we were all talking about. No. The Yankees have to make sure they take care of business. By definition, taking care of business is exactly what Apex is talking about. 2 of 3. And you're going back to the stadium for that series. When you go to Houston and Max Fried delivers the type of... This is why you give him $200+ million. Whether I agreed with it or not, because I was a little worried about this contract. I'm going to be honest with you, Jake. I was. And you bring him in here. My biggest concern was how he pitches down the stretch after piling up innings. It was the exact same conversation we had about Stroman. He got to 130 innings, and then he just flew off the cliff. And that was my prediction early. I didn't want it to be true. It ended up being true. Now, Fried gets past that exact same area, and he normally goes off a cliff. What's he doing? He's climbing the mountaintop. So we have to cover it. We have to make sure everybody is aware of it. And now that you mention, Fried was dominant in the opener against Houston. It tees us up for a sweep. That's true. But if we go out and win this series, and you go win a Toronto series, the AL East knows they're in trouble. So we've got to go do it now. The last part of it is execution.
Exactly that. And I like that you say they don't have to sweep everyone. That's not realistic. But now you're back to playing the game you played. People forget this Yankee team won 8 straight series to start the year. That is the name of the game. You're trying to win series. It's something when you're a little kid you don't understand. You know, you're watching Yankees baseball and they say they won the series. And then you ask, at least for me, you ask your dad what the hell that even means. Then he explains it and you're like, yeah, I understand. I don't.
There's always a horrible loss on like a Thursday, just a miserable game. And you're like, well, they still took the series. I'm like, that's such a mature and awful way to look at it. But it's
exactly
true. If you win all the series, you win 100 games. It's how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. So, but no, I love that was brought up. And then, we hit at the same time. Ness, thank you. Max was great. We are too home run reliant. I get that. I do. Tonight, I'll give it a pass. Especially, where I tend to give it a pass is when you're on the road. It's one thing to be home run reliant when you're just taking advantage of your natural, habitat, which is Yankee Stadium. But when you're on the road... Do you think it's
always bound to fail, by the way?
Home run reliance?
Yeah, because I've always been Now, mind you, with Ness's point here,
Because
I've
I do
always-
actually.
oh, you do think the home run or bust is always bound. At some point in the big games, you're not going to be able to do the sexy thing when it matters
It's true.
most. Is that your take?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't, because it's not. You would have to be playing a video game on like rookie mode because
Completely agree with you.
You are not going to hit home runs in every single game. You're just not. You will get off to like a crazy start. The Yankees had like multiple games in a row where they had a home run streak or whatever. But it just takes that one game. And then all of a sudden that one game becomes the second game and then the third game. And yeah, in the postseason also, they're 2-1 games. Home runs are not how you win postseason games, in my opinion. You
Not
can
usually.
win home runs to win postseason games. We look at Juan Soto, for instance, against the Cleveland Guardians. We look at Giancarlo Stanton, right? We look at Aaron Judge. Anthony Volpe, right? Huge grand slam in the World Series. Here's the deal, though, okay? This is not sustainable. Relying on the home run is like every single time you bet on baseball. Well, there are way too many people that do this. You only bet on who's going to hit a home run. The odds of them hitting a home run, you know, because Apple TV, it'll show you 1% chance, 2% chance.
You could bet Barry Bonds to hit a home run. He's going to statistically, it's a home run every 10 at bats. Obviously, he's walking a ton, but every 10 at bats, statistically, Barry Bonds, a lot of people think is the greatest hitter of all time. 10 at bats. That's every 2.5 games, Jake. 2.5 games. That's not even counting his walks. So that may go 3 or 4 games before you see a Barry Bonds homer. So what it means is that the Yankees are essentially, they're going max bet at the slots, and they're hoping that they cash in. Oh, we hope we hit the jackpot at the right time. Now,
There's
it
your
hasn't
first
worked for
issue.
us.
When you're playing the slots, I mean,
Every time you go to Vegas, you'll have a couple buddies. They go, "Oh, where the money's made is in the slots." I'm like, "No, it's not.
if you don't know math, yeah, I could see that.
No, brother, it's not. It's where the highest odds are." And when you mention the odds, because that's really what it is. When you set up a team, you have a series of power hitters. You've got your 3, your 4, and your 5 hitters. Those are like, for people who have been watching baseball for 30, 40, 50 years, and we have certainly people in our audience who have, there's a reason the guys with pop were hitting 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They were constructing the roster where the leadoff hitter and the 2 hitter were table setters, and they're not just useless in literally table setting for the guys after them. They're also a point of attack that's a different flavor than what the other guys are doing. Just in case, what you saw in the World Series, where that 5th inning, the dreaded 5th inning that we had, it wasn't a ton of homers from the Dodgers. It was some slap balls in the infield with some guys who could run and put pressure on the defense. One thing leads to another, and you're like, oh, wow, the Dodgers kind of beat us without even doing anything really sexy. It didn't feel like much, and all of a sudden you said, oh, wow, I can't believe we made that error. Now Freddie Freeman's up with the bases loaded, and he hits a 2-out single up the middle. Devastating, right? You have to have different ways to go about scoring. Now, I'm not going to use tonight's game as a launching point to this take because this is objectively a huge win for the Yankees. They deserve all the credit in the world. And like I've said earlier this season, if you're going to be boom or bust, you better go boom when it matters. And don't tell me it's just bad luck or that it's a crapshoot. No, you told me at the beginning of the year this is a World Series team. So prove to us now this is a sustainable way to score against contenders. And so far, we're going to start tonight. They're 1 for 1.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, I mean, the home run reliance, I totally understand what people are saying. I have an issue with it too. Even I feel bad too. I mean, you're watching Jazz Chisholm crush 2 home runs in a game and you're still thinking it. But at the same time, I think it's different on the road, Gary. I just do. You know, when you're able to hit home runs like that on the road, that is impressive. Different dimensions, you know, that's not where you play 81 of your games. You know, I do tend to appreciate that, but also just finding a way to win regardless. Like, who's going to care? And that's the thing. When people like Ness say we are 2 home run reliant, Ness isn't saying that home runs are an issue.
No.
Ness is saying that this will become an issue down the road. If they hit a home run every game and they won every game, no one would care. It's the fact that it comes off as if they're only trying to hit home runs, and then in the big spots, they don't come through. And that's the reality of it. No one cares. If you're a regular season team, I believe it was the Boston Bruins broke like a record for like most wins in a hockey season. They got bounced in the first round, and it was like a huge upset. They fired their coach. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. You know,
people also said the Miami Heat, you can't win a title. You may have two elite you have an elite forward, an elite shooting guard, an elite power forward. They have no size. They didn't have a center. Well, we're going to move our power forward to center. Remember, all the old school fans, you can't do that. You can't do that. Not a way to win. They win back-to-back championships.
Yeah.
The Golden State Warriors show up to the NBA. You've got Charles Barkley and Shaq going, you can't win NBA championships shooting threes. Just doesn't work. They win 4 or 5 different championships. And now we know better down the road. Now, I'm in full agreement with you. I don't think it's a sustainable way to score. It's just not. There are other teams and other styles. There's a reason why a lot of those teams that score in October just so happen to have higher batting averages. Is batting average now suddenly we should just pull out the lotion for high batting average? No. But what it does mean is that stat's not useless, because scoring with runners in scoring position, batting average is just a percentage. That's all that number means. What percentage chance are you out of your at-bats to get a hit here? And then how can we use that to draw a judgment? How likely are you to draw them in? So it's interesting. I would be really interested, by the way, to hear what Ness has to say here about my mom's out here saying, "You son." My mom, I've used that reference many times. What Ness has to say about the re-signing of Trent Grisham, because Trent Grisham is that mold. He does help the Yankees score in that boomer bust fashion. So I'm interested to hear it. So Ness, drop that in the live section. We will throw you up on the screen. I'm very curious to know what you think, because when we hit these home runs, we're excited, we're happy, and this was in a big game. So will it just mean nothing in October? Will Trent Grisham suddenly not be able to do what he's doing against great pitching? Not Framber Valdez, but even better pitching. Will he be able to do what he's doing? Will guys like Paul Goldschmidt destroy lefties when they face a Tarek Skubal in October? Will we see the output we're seeing? We can't answer that right now, but we're going to find out. And Jake, you threw Abe up on the screen with the 2, said Stanton looks a little off, and I think we can use this as an opportunity to talk about it. Mm-hmm. I personally don't mind it. He said Stanton looks a little off, too much rest right now. I'm fine. I'm fine with it. As long as Stanton doesn't find multiple days off in a 3-game series, I'll be okay. If he takes 1 day off, okay. But it better be physical and not a scheduled day off or any of that. So, Jake, what do you think about this?
Exactly what you said, to a T. I'm kind of over the whole scheduled day off thing. I don't know. But, Abe, we appreciate the super there. Yeah, Stanton does look off a little bit as of the last 4 games. But that's baseball for you, right? Like how quickly you can look like the best hitter in baseball and then just boop. Like, it's crazy how that works. I mean, it's why I never realized it until we started covering this team last year and doing a show every single night. You start to pick up on things that you missed. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Alex Verdugo was hitting 270. We're like, oh man, maybe they'll sign him. And now he's not on a team, and Trent Grisham is the guy that maybe we'll sign him. But here's the deal. Trent Grisham, this is in September we're talking about this. Alex Verdugo was in the first 2 months. So,
and to be fair, Aaron Judge was playing objectively horrible baseball just 2 weeks ago. So it wasn't about rest. People could have said, oh, he's not healthy. But is anyone looking at Aaron Judge right now and saying, well, he was 2 for 5. He's now hitting 325. His ops is 11-13. No one's talking about Aaron Judge and his lack of production right now. He just performed in a big game. So having said all that, how many people in our comment section have said anything about Judge's health? Nobody. So that just goes to show you, if you perform, no one will talk about the factors. Stan just didn't play well. Just the same way that Paul Goldschmidt, against another lefty, by the way, in our last game we just played before the day off, Paul Goldschmidt went 0 for 5 in that matchup. It wasn't because of rest. It wasn't because of anything. It's because it was just baseball. He didn't play well. And we just hope it turns around starting tomorrow. So I have no doubt in Giancarlo Stanton. He's actually the one player of any player in our lineup. I don't read into anything that happens today when it comes to tomorrow. Giancarlo, you're in the lineup.
I agree. Mark, not sure if addressed, but thoughts on Valdez purposely throwing at his catcher after he tried making him step off during the grand slam pitch. I don't know him personally, but that just rubbed me the wrong way. I saw Dallas Braden break it down perfectly. I don't know, man. I'm a big believer in respecting, I'm a big believer in respecting the other team. But your teammates? Absolutely. I mean, you told me, Gary, like, if I was the catcher, I would have just rolled the ball back to him every single time.
I would have thrown the ball right back to his ankles. That's exactly what I would have done. I would just rolled it to him. So let me ask you a question, Jake.
Yeah.
Because you were talking earlier about Trent Grisham and his locker room presence. You were actually saying part of the reason why I maybe didn't want to trade him was because of the type of guy he is. Not just the production, but the guy, right? Trent Grisham's in a contract year. Everyone's wondering if we're going to bring him back. It's a good question. Valdez is also in the final year of his deal. Can you explain to me how it makes practical business to be in the final year of any deal of any career ever, and you're on your worst behavior? You're intentionally throwing balls to injure your catcher or just throw the ball at him. You're giving up grand slams during a pennant race. You're a sinker baller giving up grand slams, by the way. The whole intention of the pitch is to be on the ground. It's now launched to the seats. And you're going into the offseason. Who's his agent? Genuinely, who is in his ear where he would possibly think this is a good idea? I mean, certain things you do that just don't make any sense if you're trying to sell yourself to the other 30 teams in baseball, the other 29. You don't grab the ball from your manager and throw it over the center field wall like a Trevor Bauer did, right? You don't do those things. Why? Because the other managers are looking at that, right? They're mistakes. Now, obviously, certain ones you can apologize for, certain ones you can't. Now, Jake, if I'm in this situation and we have Ben Rice behind the plate and a Cam Schlittler didn't like that, and mind you guys, I don't want you to feel like Cam Schlittler's done this, but if you have a player, we'll use Will Warren here. If Will Warren did this to Ben Rice behind the plate, I wouldn't want Will Warren anywhere near this clubhouse. I want him gone today. That would be my mentality. Now, this may seem harsh, but you have to remember what you're doing. I'm going to throw a baseball at one of my players because I didn't like something he did. What kind of teammate is that?
Yeah.
What is that? It's complete nonsense. And frankly, I don't mind if I'm playing baseball, basketball, or I work at State Farm. I don't care. If somebody's willing to do harm to me because I didn't do my job well or I did something they didn't like, go far away from those people. Those people are useless.
I was just thinking about the time I was actually I was at my job and one of the coworkers threw a box cutter, and I mean he was cool, like he was one of my friends, like I don't think he meant it, but the box cutter went into my chest.
Right, so you have to question when things are good with this person, and this is the same thing for like really any person. I'm like, oh wow, I don't want to be around that person. It's not that they're not enjoyable to be around when they're at their best. Who are you at your worst? Hey, you just gave up a grand slam in a game. I know pregame you said, oh, we really want to have this game. This is a big game. He was thinking about it probably all night. Couldn't wait to get on the mound. And now all of a sudden, you're upset at your catcher. It's not your catcher's fault. It's you. It's you.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing. I obviously I wasn't going to like tell on him and get him fired or whatever, but yeah,
I would have.
Well, I wasn't like bleeding out. It just like it kind of, it was dull and just kind of was chilling there. Like
I would have done a somersault into a lawsuit if somebody threw a box cutter and it hit me in my toe, dude. And I'm working on the job. I promise you right now, I would be, dude. You don't even want to know what I do. I'd be way hurt.
I got hit by a car and I got essentially impaled by a box cutter and I got no insurance money. So I'm doing the whole thing wrong.
Yeah, you're You definitely aren't one of those slip and fall guys.
No,
They don't see a wet sign.
No, I'm one of the guys, lunch pail guy, gamer. Like that's what they would describe me.
Yeah, you are too nice, Jake. Someone throws a box cutter and it goes into my chest. I'm out for the season. Let's just say that.
Show up with a full body cast.
Right.
Oh man.
And Paul saw you in the live chat earlier. So Paul, again, thank you for being in the live chat and also the super. So really appreciate that. Paul with the 2 says, Friday night roll call. I will be there. Yankees. Ooh. Friday.
Oh.
Friday, September 5th.
Will you be there Saturday? Because I will be there Saturday. I'd like to see all of you.
Yeah,
I wish
Friday.
I had...
Let's see the matchup. So Kevin Gausman, that's the game. And that was that Cam Schlittler, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Paul, that's one hell of a way to spend your money. That's what I was talking about, I think 2 shows ago. That's how you spend your money right there. So, Paul, we really appreciate the 2.
I know.
And Mark has just become a Yankees Unloaded member. Jake, what level? So I can actually give him full credit for this.
We need like a sound effect because he is a diamond level, my friend.
Welcome aboard. Diamond level. So we're going to be hearing Mark's voice. Is he part of our voicemail, our diamond level voicemails that we have tonight? And by the way, guys, I am reading your feedback. Okay, perfect. So Mark, if you go in, I forget the section, but you can go in and drop us a voicemail into the community tab. I have seen your guys', I read all of our post-show comments and our lives, and there were some people who were saying in our diamond level, we can also maybe consider offering some other ways to benefit diamond level members and other memberships as well. I'm always open to all suggestions of how we do that. So please drop that in the live. I do read them post-show. Like, believe it or not, I sit in bed and watch our entire episode. And so I really would appreciate that. Any and all, ideas are great. So Mark, welcome in. Really appreciate that. And Jersey Girl with the 5 says, tonight the Yankees finally demonstrated some statistical fortitude.
Yeah, that was
testicular. Sorry, Mom. Fortitude. It's a good thing I was a podcaster, right? What are your thoughts on replacing Volpe with Caballero moving? Yeah, statistical. That should be a t-shirt. Jesus. What are your thoughts on replacing Volpe with Caballero moving forward?
Oh, man. That was funny.
If Volpe's going to field his position, I couldn't give a rat's, to be honest with you. It just is what it is. If Volpe is going to go field his position, that's actually been the biggest problem I have with him. The bat is something to laugh about. It's something in the voice chat. Oh, let's have a laugh. He's hitting 200. It is funny. But it's only funny if you can't field your position. Caballero, on the other hand, he was fielding his position. He was also hitting. Jake, I know you're very high on Caballero. So, yeah, I'm fine with Volpe out there. I am. As long as he's performing.
I agree with that. I just it doesn't have to look like exactly how I want it. If guys are contributing, I mean, I'm not going to be on your back. Dude, if Ryan McMahon was going out there and hitting 330, do you think I'd be like, oh, I don't like Ryan McMahon? Like, no, I'd be like, yeah, Ryan McMahon's not my favorite player. I never hated him. I don't think that's ever occurred. I never said a word. I would have done the same thing about Joey Gallo. I would have been like, look, Joey Gallo was even just performing on the level he was supposed to. See, this is the thing, Gary. I knew he wasn't going to be what he was in Texas. I knew it. If he was what he was in Texas, I'd be like, that's a good player.
That's pretty fair. That's honestly a pretty fair prediction, right?
Yep.
That he wasn't going to be that. If you really had to ask yourself, did you really think we were going to get that? I almost feel like it was silly.
It was the worst trade I've ever seen. It was so bad.
Silly.
I don't even care what they gave up because it didn't end up being that bad. Like, it's not like they gave up, like, top of the line prospects, but it was just more so they got Joey Gallo, who actually became a net negative. Like, he got to the point where he was so bad, Michael Kay was about to have a stroke talking about it. The worst 500 at-bats in Yankee history. Like, he was not happy.
Yeah, people tell me that he pulls punches. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He just doesn't throw all the punches at the exact time you want him to throw them. That's all it is. taking the job of the voice of the Yankees is not. It's not for the faint of heart. There's certainly some great things about it. Like the majority of it is great. He gets the best seats in the house. He's there anytime he wants to be.
Doesn't have to go to a White Sox game.
Doesn't have to go to a White Sox game. Perfect, right? It's all perfect for Michael Kay. But I don't know. People act like he's pulling the punches. I'm like, I don't know, guys. He pretty much did a windmill dunk on Joey Gallo. And Sunil says that Gary Sheffield with the E7 on that. Wait.
Dictation.
Doesn't even look like dictation.
All right. We need to get you some glasses, man. I know a guy.
It looks like dictation.
No, oh, no, you're actually right.
Is this a spelling error?
That a spelling error making fun of your spelling error.
Sunil. That's on you, my guy. E7. Technical foul.
There's just errors everywhere.
Errors everywhere. No one can spell. No one can talk. But
everyone's stuttering. All right.
And everybody. So obviously, thank you for being in the live.
Yes.
Want to throw up Ninja Hot Dog, our final super for now, with the 2, says at this point, does Cal deserve MVP over Judge? No, he doesn't, because his numbers are good. They're not that good. I'm actually going to pull them up now because I think it would be, we're going to have a brief conversation. We're not going to turn this into a showdown here.
He's 5th in OPS, by the way.
5th in OPS. I don't care what anybody says. There is no MVP in baseball. No MVP in baseball that is hitting 242. I don't care what you say. There's also not an MVP in baseball that's hitting 200 since the break. And weren't a high batting average player to begin with. So I understand he's hitting a lot of home runs. I get that. And he's playing a premium position at catcher. I also understand that. But he's not Yachty or Molina back there. He's a good catcher. He's not Yachty. Let's not overblow this. When you're looking at someone's stats and their ops says 1,100, it's a different. There's just levels to it. And I think people are bored and they're looking for a different storyline. I think that's as simple as it is. I think if we saw Aaron Judge and he hadn't won an MVP before, and you have Cal Raleigh who clearly hasn't won an MVP before in reality, then no one would be looking for the story because it's really not a story. Cal Raleigh is not the MVP. He's just not.
No, he's not. I think he's having a great year. Although his defense isn't as good as it has been in years past, but people want to use that as an argument that he was a Platinum Glove winner last year, so that's why he should win the MVP this year. No, what he's doing is great. 51 home runs, playing catcher. I get it, but
it's awesome.
At the same time, this is a guy who his on-base percentage is lower than Trent Grisham, and he's never getting any of the hype that he never gets talked about. So.
Both players have slumped, by the way. When people talk about Judge's slump, because Ninja does bring up the slumping, completely agree. The slumping hasn't been great. He was electric. You get to the summer break, awesome. Now all of a sudden, since then, you're talking
1,100 OPS though.
Right, and that's considering the slump. Now, when you have a slump, has Cal Raleigh? Is it fair to say he's had a slump?
Yeah.
It is, right? I mean, at one point or another, he was hitting about 150 for about 30 days there. That's what I would call a slump. That's not hit to his standards. So both players have had slumps. Who had the higher peak? Well, that answer is obvious, in my opinion.
He's 20 OPS points away from being 200 OPS points up on Raleigh. And keep in mind, earlier in the year when he was up on Raleigh, because he had like a 1,200 something, that was earlier in the year. So regardless if, he was great or he was struggling, Aaron Judge has always been almost 200 points up on Raleigh in terms of OPS. Aaron Judge's on base is 442, and this is September. Aaron Judge's slugging percentage is almost in the 700s. Like, the WAR, I'm not a WAR guy, but 7.4. Still way ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I can ignore the WAR. We're in agreement. Like WAR, it doesn't mean everything the way that it's been decided these past 4 or 5 years, and certainly it was probably more important about 4 years ago. But
yes,
but when you look at the numbers and someone edges a player in WAR, they edge him in ops, they edge him in batting average by about God knows, almost 100 points. Almost 100 points. It's not even the same conversation. It's not a disrespect to somebody to tell them that, hey, this season you had the second best season in the American League. That's really impressive. I know you mentioned the ops. That is the second most impressive season in the AL. How many players in the league would take that? You lose the MVP to Aaron Judge, so what? Do you know how many great players lost the MVP because Barry Bonds existed? Ridiculous.
What's interesting, and I think this kind of defeats the whole purpose, is Kyle Schwarber going to win the MVP over Shohei Ohtani?
I would probably say...
Because I'm going to say no easily.
I'm going to say no, but I think Kyle Schwarber actually has a better case only because he's playing great baseball, his best baseball, at the most important time of the year. Cal Raleigh's not playing his best baseball. He's not.
He's also having a better year than Cal Raleigh.
He is having a better year, but he's DHing,
he's not a catcher,
whereas one is catching. But offensively, he's not going to win the MVP, but I think he has a better case over Ohtani. I'm giving Ohtani the MVP. I'm not even thinking twice about it.
Yeah, Ohtani.
But I even think Raleigh has a worse case. You're hitting 242.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, well, Schwarber's saying 245. So,
yes.
He's got more RBIs, 2 fewer home runs, 1 more double.
What's his ops, by the way? What is Schwarber's ops?
10 points higher, 943.
Okay, so interesting because I guess I
Ohtani's
figured...
almost in the 1,000, by the way. He's at 998. You know who blew me away? Junior Caminero has 40 home runs. What?
Well, yeah, because nobody's watching it.
I know,
and I don't mean any disrespect by that. It is sad, right? And obviously,
he's
due to
such
a
a great
hurricane,
player.
They're not playing at their home stadium. They're playing at our field. But I mean, what's the capacity at George Steinbrenner? Does anyone have that information? I would love if you would actually throw that up on screen. And I want to read what Mark had to say here in the live chat. So Mark, who's recently become a diamond level, Mark, thank you for that, says, any plan for emotes in the near future? My mom actually was just talking about this. Just talking about it for future subs. The YouTube ones are pretty silly, to be honest. Yankees Unloaded, I bet you guys can come up with some great ones. Suggestion, Gary E7. God, so you mispronounced one word, and now you're just part of an emote.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh my God.
Guys, what emotes should we have? If we did emotes, and I would love to do that for certain levels of membership, or just all members get, unlock a certain amount of emotes, I'd be interested to see what type of emotes we can make, because I know we can do some really good ones.
Yeah. No, that absolutely. That's the thing, is that we need crowd participation on that. Because we have no... Wow. George Steinbrenner Field, 11,026.
Okay. 11,026. If you saw 11,026 people at Yankee Stadium, what would you say? On a Friday night. Where the hell is everybody? And I know the fans probably, it feels a little bit different because it's a more of a minor league setting where there isn't capacity for it, so it probably feels a little bit bigger. But
I've been there. It definitely
10,000.
Actually,
it's insane.
I was there. I saw Cam Schlittler.
I mean, beautiful park. Could you imagine playing some electric season and you're playing in front of 11,000 people capacity, and they're not selling out every night?
No. And then people
11,000.
use it as an excuse like, oh, well, they're the same dimensions as Yankee Stadium. Let's not take away Caminero, what he's doing. It's no different than hitting at Yankee Stadium. They're the exact same dimensions.
The only thing that helps, and this does help, is the fact that they are playing in the Tampa Heat. That ball has got to be flying. Now, to be fair to him, I don't see anyone else on their team throwing up some monstrous career spike of numbers. Those numbers are big time. So,
and they
good
would
for
still
him.
be in the Tampa Heat. Well, same Pete Heat, but...
Yeah, just not the same as, I guess, playing in Yankees dimensions while also playing in that heat, always outdoors. So, interesting.
Yeah.
And we did get to Ninja's Super, even though it's still there. And Jeff, welcome aboard to Yankees Unloaded. Recently became a member. Again, not sure what level. Jake, do you have it up on your screen? Because I only do the
field level member.
Jeff, welcome aboard, my man. Appreciate it. And Apex says Valdez with the 2. Valdez says he didn't hit Salazar on purpose. I couldn't give a rat's behind. And I'm glad you brought this to the table. What a lie that is. He knows he has to say that. What's he going to say? Yeah, that's my bad. I'm an ass.
The team basically told him, look, we're going to pretend you didn't do this, and that's that. You're going to tell the media you didn't? They all have an agreement. That's normally how that goes.
Jake, I don't know if you've seen the rumblings in our live. They want to see a Jake tank top emoji.
I am such a seasoned vet to the upstate New York weather. I think every show we've done the last week, I've been in a long sleeve shirt. I don't know if we'll see tank top anytime soon, because I can already tell you that the weather's getting worse. So it's going to be cold again. Shame. William says Jake is sexy in a tank. Well,
wow.
That way to shoot your shot, man. Good God. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we would do that, but yeah. Jabroni emoji. Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, Boone Bin Laden emoji.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I gotta
gracious.
admit, the funniest meme that anyone sent me today. I think it was. I can't remember if it was.
Boone.
No, Welkin, was it you? I can't remember who did it. Be honest here. Someone sent me the Devin Williams AI'd into Osama bin Laden. And I'm, again, just for sponsorship purposes, I legally have to say this. I don't condone that behavior, but what a funny meme that was. That is hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. We don't condone any of that, but
never condone it.
Yeah.
Only laugh at it.
Laugh at it. Dread from it. Run from it. Destiny arrives all the same.
But yeah, anything else of the game, of players that you think are deserving to be talked about before we get to our diamond level voicemails?
Oh, did we talk about Jazz? I feel like we didn't.
No, let's talk about Jazz. Go ahead and tee it off. I want you to start this off because Jazz was your prediction. You said in New York he can be a star player. Like, these performances, it doesn't just solidify him as a star. We're not telling you guys that. But Jake, what is your thought on this? Because it feels like Jazz has much better numbers, like counting stats. Homers, ribbies, stolen bases. But somehow it doesn't feel like he's in the mix in the important games. He was in the thick of it today. He had major swings at the bat in a big game, a game that everyone said those games earlier didn't matter. These ones do. Well, Jazz showed up in the one that you guys said matters. So what's your takeaway on Jazz right now?
Well, I like that he's making me look smart again because, I said he could hit 30 home runs and people were like, what? Jazz? 30 home runs? Yeah. Why not? Right? This month, he's hitting 217 with an 861 OPS. I don't think that could tell you any more who Jazz Chisholm is right now as a player than that. When he hits, he does damage, but he's not willing to, right now, he's just not consistently being the Luis Arias. And I'm not saying that that's who I need, but I want him to be that when he needs to be that. If I just need you to get the base hit come through, like I need you to be a little bit more consistent there. That having the 861 OPS is absolutely insane with a 217 batting average. And to kind of explain here, Jazz Chisholm back in June. People talk about star. This was a star, okay? 318, 378 on base, 614 slugging, a 991 OPS. Star. Then he went around and messed with his swing. July, 247, 343, 416, 759. Still not bad. It's not like he was awful, but you could see him falling off. August, 217, 339, 522, 861. So, what is Jazz Chisholm? I'll tell you, it's very simple because you go back to April, 151, 279, 312, 591 OPS. Jazz Chisholm is an incredibly talented player. You know who Jazz Chisholm is? He is Kyler Murray. That's who he is. Incredibly talented
I don't
player.
know how many football fans we got in here. I feel like you're describing, by the way, everything you're saying about Jazz. I feel like it's just Jazz is a perfect microcosm of what this offense is as a whole. You actually mentioned, because you mentioned his ops. His ops is very good. If you have an ops of 847 and you go into free agency, you get big money. I don't care who you are. You just do. Now, having said that, Paul Goldschmidt's ops hovering around 750. Cody Bellinger's 833. His ops is lower than Jazz Chisholm, but still great. 833. Aaron Judge 1113. Ridiculous. Stanton's is 977. Dominguez is a 716. Grisham's is an 839. So again, hovering in the ballpark of exactly what Jazz is. So again, guys, ops is on base plus slugging. Those numbers have nothing to do with spraying a ball the other way with any level of consistency. Consistency be damned, that number can still be electric. That's who Jazz is. He is a wildly inconsistent, one of the most talented players you'll ever watch. That's who he is. And I don't know if the Yankees are going to try and say, we want to pull that 313 with some pop and good defense Jazz out, or are they accepting this? I don't want to just throw him in the boomer bust category again. I want to get a little bit more creative. Are they just going to accept the, I don't know, minesweeper mentality of Jazz Chisholm because he's so talented? He can just flip a game up on its head, flipping 2 homers, just destroying the ball with 2 swings. Is that the type of mentality you want him to have? It worked today. He deserves credit. We're all happy about it. Is it sustainable? Probably not. So I would like to see Jazz maybe not turn into the player that you said with the Luis Arias. Obviously, Luis Arias doesn't have any power, so that helps him buy into that mentality, is because he can't hit home runs, whereas Jazz very easily can. So I'm interested. I don't know what to think of this player, because some days you absolutely love Jazz Chisholm and you're off his back. The next day, he's your favorite player to criticize because it's just so frustrating.
One way or another, he's your favorite player. He's either your favorite to criticize or your favorite to root for, because he's
fair.
Easy to root for when he's doing well, and he is easy to find frustrating when he's not doing well, because he's got that swing where you're like, man, I don't know what looks more beautiful than his bat flip all in unison when he gets a hold of one, but when he misses and he does that like spin around 360, it is not good. So
yeah, Kyler Murray, same deal. Very easy to criticize. When he sucks, he's 5'8" on a good day. And when he has a great day, they say how athletic he is, how much talent he's got. He's getting, his ability to read offenses is improving. Same thing with Jazz. Jazz will have a 2 home run day. Everyone will say, I knew Jazz, if he can hone it in, he can be this. And then 2 days later, that exact same person is in our comments saying how much they want to get rid of this whole Jazz mentality, fix your hat. It's very easy to hate at the same time. So let's just hope Jazz reels it in a little bit and we get a little bit more consistency, because when he's performing, he's deadly.
I think this is what I would say about Jazz Chisholm. The reason people are frustrated is because they know the talent. The talent, his potential, right? And this is why the Yankees went out and got him. Not just a controllable player that can play second and third and all of that in the outfield, but he's somebody that if he works out, if he figures it out, he's going to hit 30-plus home runs. He's going to have an OPS in the 850 to 900 range for a while. And he's going to coincide with a Judge, a Bellinger, right? Like one of the top guys in your lineup.
Yep.
But what we don't talk about is that Jazz Chisholm never really was that before he came to the Yankees. So honestly, when you look at his body of work with the New York Yankees, he's been pretty damn good, considering he was just some deadline deal where you didn't give up a ton. Because let's just be honest here. Agustin Ramirez, we liked him. We talked about him. Agustin Ramirez is going to be a DH for his whole career. He's not going to be a catcher. He's the worst defensive catcher in the league. We already showed all the stats and everything.
He's Diet Coke Gary Sanchez.
Wow. That's something. That is something. But no, point being, the Yankees didn't really give up a ton for him. I actually have an update on that. I think it was Yankees prospects. One of the accounts that I follow here. Let's see here. Yankees prospect watch. Perfect. Okay, so update on the Jazz Chisholm Jr. package at NYY_prospects. Agustin Ramirez, 95. He used an OPS plus. Well, anyway, not a good OPS plus. Has graded out as the worst defensive catcher in baseball, like we were just talking about. Jared Cerna, 222, 303, 278 in Double-A was one of the traded pieces. And then Abraham Ramirez is hitting 239, 374, 302, and he's in Low-A Jupiter. So the point being is the Yankees clearly won this deal. They got a really good player. Jazz is really good. He really is. And I think that's the thing. There's kind of this disconnect here because you want Jazz to be a star, and I have to also kind of temper my expectations too. What separates a good player or a great player from a star player, right? What separates them? Consistency.
That's all it is.
So, of course...
And again, guys, he doesn't... Just before you go forward, Jake always, every time he goes this direction, he always has to... 30 minutes down the road of talking about it. He has to go, there's a difference between a star and a superstar. I hope you guys know. He doesn't mean Jazz can get to Ohtani level. He can get to a stars level, which is play really good baseball consistently. That's a star. The superstars are like, they put butts in the seats and people are lining up to go get their autograph off the team plane. That different. Right, so totally agree with you. So Jazz, go ahead, because Jazz Chisholm is just consistency. I think we're fools to ask consistency from Jazz Chisholm. I don't see it happening, and if it does, it'd be a pleasant surprise. That would be something he's never done before. But you mentioned his numbers with the Yankees are still good overall, very good numbers.
Yeah,
and that's not a surprise. He's just too talented to have bad numbers. But when you turn on a game, and we turned on today's game in early September, I want to know Jazz Chisholm's going to be at his best, because if Jazz Chisholm performs in October, you actually see what HS says here with the 2, says Jazz creates runs when he gets on base. Jazz Chisholm is an impact player when he's performing. You can look across baseball on all 30 teams, and you say, well, that guy, he went 2 for 4 with 2 doubles, but it kind of felt like he hid in the game. Like I didn't even notice he played. Jazz Chisholm's the opposite. When he's on the bases at all, you notice. It's very noticeable. He's immediately running. He's immediately scoring. He just has a knack for finding ways to make an impact. He's just got to get more consistent with that bat. And if ball goes in the seats, we won't complain. But man, as HS brings up, when he gets on base, it's still a game-changing play. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his 2 seasons in New York, and mind you, it's basically 1 season, right? Because he hasn't even qualified for a full season yet. 151 games with the Yankees, not including today. So I'll try and include it. I wish that's one issue with Baseball Reference, man. They're like a day or 2 behind. It is annoying.
Isn't that obnoxious?
39 home runs with the Yankees. He had 66 in 403 games with Miami. So there's a rocket ship here with his career. He's becoming more of a power hitter, right? And then you see, stuff like he's now hitting 250, Miami 246. So is it crazy? No. And of course, that's what happens when you sacrifice some of that for the power, right? But this is where it gets interesting. His on-base percentage with the Yankees is over 334. It was 309 with the Marlins. That is huge. That is a significant improvement from 309 to go up to 334. I don't know if people realize that. Slugging is almost in the 500s. It's at 491 with the Yankees. It was
this number accurate, by the way? Because HS brings up with the super. Thank you for the 2. Says And Jazz has an on-base percentage of 342, even higher than Belly. Because when
is
we
accurate.
traded for Jazz, if you remember, the target on-base percentage that you were looking for was 325.
Yeah.
325. And it's improved. Is it where it should be now that we've gotten a good look at Jazz? Like, we see him every day.
Yeah, of
we
course.
know exactly what he looks like at his worst. We know what he looks like at his best, what he looks like in between. And we want the in-between to be a higher baseline. That's all. That is literally all people are asking for. And very clearly, that baseline has still moved the correct direction because his on-base percentage at the time of trade was roughly floating around 325. And Jake, you were like, I'll take that. And then you look up, and his on-base percentage is up to 342. That number probably, if Jazz really put it together and we can get rid of that April, that on-base percentage should be north of 360. That's a really good player.
Yeah.
And that's where the difficult conversations come in. I saw my mom earlier, by the way. She was like, well, you don't want him to be Luis. Well, Luis Arias hit a home run today. I'm like, well, that's great. Luis Arias has 35 home runs his entire career and 3,160 at-bats. So a little different when players like that are, I'm going to spray the ball the other way, and you ask Jazz to do the same thing. Well, Jazz has hit 39 home runs for the Yankees in basically one season of baseball. So different talents, different skill sets, and that's something that Jazz is going to have to really figure out. How do I manage my skill set? That's also a thing. What if you have 40-plus home run power? Do you dial it back and become a more complete player, or do you just lean into the power game? Jazz has to learn what he wants to do with his skill set. And that's also part of the responsibility of your hitting coach and your team, really, to tell them, essentially have them tell you what you should be doing.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. What I find with Jazz is actually, and this is pretty crazy when you look at his overall body of work, he, for his career, is just kind of always Jazz Chisholm. He doesn't get crazy in the big moments, but he doesn't get super low in the big moments either. If you look at his career, his high leverage batting is 249, a 313 on base, a 446 slugging, and a 759 OPS. The medium leverage, he's a 759 OPS, and the low leverage is 787. It's all in kind of the same ballpark. Now, keep this in mind. This is just including his whole career. This is not only the Yankees. So what I come to understand here with Jazz Chisholm is this. With the Yankees, he's turned into more of a slugger, no doubt about it. But he's a better all-around player. He just is. Like, it's not, and that's the thing that I don't want people to just assume that I'm talking about home runs and whatnot. Jazz Chisholm, before he came to the Yankees, had 1 year, just 1 year in 2022, where he had an OPS over 800.
Voted most overrated player by his peers, not us, not the fans. The fans wanted him on the cover of MLB The Show, if you guys remember correctly. I believe it was in 2024. He was voted that same offseason the most overrated player in baseball. All 30 teams. And the players had that to say.
I hate
That's not,
that. I do not
hate
like
it.
that.
And Bryce Harper won that exact same vote. Bryce Harper was MVP. Then you see 240, right? 240 batting average. And at the time, batting average was seen as more important. But the point is, you're too talented to give us a season like that. Jazz Chisholm is too talented to play a month and a half the way you saw in April. Yeah, I can't see that. That's overrated. Because when Jazz is at his best, he's bat flipping. I mean, he literally, the ball touches the bat. And he looks like one of our best players on the team. You would think that if you just watched today's game.
Oh, yeah.
So Jazz just has to really figure this out. And it seems like he's at least tracking that direction. The consistency is not where we want it to be, but we will take it. I do see some people talking about a comparison between Jazz and Bernie Williams. I saw that in the comment section. I don't see that. I think Bernie is more of an older school guy. He's caring about batting average. Consistency is his calling card. I'm trying to hit 320. And if the pop shows up, it shows up, right? You're looking at power. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers right here. Anywhere from 18, you get up to all the way up to 30 homers. Jazz Chisholm has 40 home run potential, so he has to also manage that. Bernie doesn't have that problem, right?
I don't get that comparison at all.
I don't agree with it at all. No. They're just two totally different players.
He almost hit 300 for his entire career.
Yep. And Jazz Chisholm, he would be allergic to even trying to be a 300 hitter for the course of a career.
See,
you would never win most overrated player even trying to do that. No way.
That's the thing with Bernie. That's actually a really good point, is that Bernie was able to hit 339 and send 26 balls over the wall,
Yep.
in the process. Jazz has to sell out. So there's a give and a take. It's not like he's just hitting 330 and there's no drop off. I mean, Judge earlier in the year, he was flirting with 400 because he's just serving the ball the opposite field. He wasn't
Bernie
swinging for the
Williams,
fences.
Jake, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. And I don't mean this to like hijack the show and hijack Jazz's day. Mm-hmm. Bernie Williams, just because the comparison was brought up in our comments, so that's the reason we're going to cover it. Bernie was so much better of a player than Jazz Chisholm. It is unfathomable.
He's actually underrated.
Well, of course, everyone thinks that, but when you look up his stats and you see it on Baseball Reference and you see the 339 in bold, and it is a career high, but you mentioned the 26 homers. How many home runs would that season have given us if he hit 239?
Bernie Williams played 900.
That's what it would have been. I promise you.
Bernie Williams played 999 games, and every single in this span from 96 to 2002. Just so we have an understanding of who Bernie Williams is. Every single season, he had a 900-plus OPS in that span. 999 games.
Yeah, so he's still slugging, but he was also getting on base in a different way. A lot of it was batting average. He was still drawing his walks. I mean, you can see that for yourself. I mean, he drew 100 walks in 99, so he's walking, but then the batting average is in play. In today's sport, players think they're getting the same production because my RBIs are the same, my home runs are even higher. They think they're better, but they're not, right? Because the reality is those numbers are inflated. If a guy hits 310 and he hits 25 home runs, he's a better player than a dude who hit 250 and hit 36 home runs. He just is. Because if the dude who hit 310 decided batting average just isn't that important, I'm going to sell out and hit 250, I'll take the 60 points off my batting average and try to pull the ball for an extra 2 months. I'm going to hit more home runs. I'll just be less consistent. So I just think the Bernie Williams thing, Bernie Williams was married to the consistency game. Jazz Chisholm is just, it's a hobby. He does it every weekend or so. And so that's why it's frustrating. But I think we'll get there. I do. I think we're going to have to see a little bit older, a more mature Jazz Chisholm. I don't know when that shows up, but I think it will at some point. I do. I saw it, and I've mentioned him many times. He kind of reminds me of Granderson a bit before he came to the Yankees. Because, I mean, Granderson had 2 seasons where he had over 40 home runs with the Yankees, right? So, we're talking, okay. I like the Granderson thing. Yeah.
But I feel like with Detroit, he kind of matches up more with Jazz because, see, he was a speed demon. And then he went away from being kind of that I'm going to steal a bunch of bags to then when he realized he had some power, you start to see the 19, 23, 22, and then 30 home runs in 2009, which gets him an all-star thing there. But then in addition to that, right? And mind you, people forget how freaking fast Granderson was. We're talking he had 23... Dude, listen to this. 23 triples in 2007. 23 triples. And then he led the league the next year with 13. So he went away from
in 2007?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Yep, I watched that.
He went away from that, right? And he sacrificed the average. He sacrificed getting on base more to hit more home runs and be more explosive. And so, like, when they first got him, I was saying Granderson. That was actually kind of who I saw, but obviously not on the Yankees, more so just like that's the type of player he could be. But you also said this, and I'll never forget it. You said, I don't want Jazz Chisholm to be a 40 home run guy. Like, with all due respect, like, I don't want him doing that.
Yeah, I didn't want him being a 14 homer guy either. Too much talent there. But I was probably looking for more, give me 25 homers, right? And he obviously has already passed that.
Yeah.
He's going to go into the 30s. And when you have 30 plus home runs, how can you avoid thinking you're just a pure power bat? It's very difficult. It
Exactly.
is. When you look up at the Jumbotron, you see that you've got 36 homers. How can you do less in an at-bat with 2 strikes and spray the ball the other way? It's very difficult. So that's part of the pure talent there that he has to manage. He has to hone that in and bring in the reins there. Chad C. with the 5 says, what will the qualifying offer for Trent be, and who will be players for him this offseason? So I have no idea what the qualifying offer will be for him, but
probably like $20 million.
Roughly anywhere from 18.
But it's a 1-year
low
deal.
20s.
It
is. Yeah. And so who will be players for him this offseason? I actually have a team for you. I'm going to give you an answer because I could just tell you I have no clue in hell because you don't really know how teams are going to spend their money. But I think if I was a betting man, and I'm not yet, I will be probably down the road. The Chicago Cubs make a lot of sense to me. And I'll tell you why.
I could see
Kyle
that.
Tucker will be very expensive. I don't care what people say. Kyle Tucker's playing hurt this year. So it's very easy to look at Kyle Tucker. I mean, he had a fracture in his hand, and he was playing through it. And when you're playing great, like when Kyle Tucker was doing what he was doing the first month of the season in Chicago, everyone's like, oh, why didn't we trade Luis Gil for that? Are you kidding me? And then he was great the whole year, fractures his hand, and then he went through a slump while playing with the fracture. And everyone's like, see, that's why Bellinger over Tucker. I mean, okay. But the gist of it, Kyle Tucker's going to get paid regardless. Everyone knows Kyle Tucker. He's been doing this. So the Cubs know that. He's probably going to go to either the Mets, he could go to the Yankees, he can go to any of these teams, and you look up and say, all right, well, if he gets his $400 million deal, who is the next best option that we can potentially replace some of that production? The Chicago Cubs will take what Trent Grisham did. 240, 250, 30-plus homers, great defense. Is it better than Kyle Tucker? No. But is it serviceable? I'd say so. So, yeah, I would go the Chicago Cubs will be the number 1 team interested in Trent Grisham.
Interesting. Yeah, not exactly sure. I could see the Cubs. I wanted to see his splits. I mean, he hits really well in Miami for whatever reason, but I don't see that. I could see Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee wouldn't be bad either. I mean, the Padres were a fit as well, but then
Yeah,
they
the
went and got
Padres
O'Hearn, so perhaps not anymore. So
Maybe
there's a lot
Colorado.
going on. They're not a fit for anybody. They're actually not even a fit for a baseball team.
No, I agree, but like maybe they're just like, hey, Trent Grisham's a star, and then they market him as like a superstar in Colorado.
Oh, you mean like they did with Chris Bryant?
That's how they do it, man.
Did you watch that press conference with Chris Bryant? I watched the whole thing.
I did not.
It was literally like he might as well have just put a mask on and just like he was a bank robber, just robbing him.
That's
blind.
so funny.
It
I
was
remember
wild.
that one dude, Minter, for
AJ?
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
Mets, saying
Yes.
how like they were real baseball fans, and like Mets fans were real baseball fans, implying that like Yankee fans weren't. Do you remember that?
No, I don't, because it was AJ Minter. He said that Yankees fans weren't real fans, but the Mets were.
You don't remember this?
No, it's AJ Minter. I would never remember anything he had to say. No.
So AJ Minter, after like during his presser with the Mets,
Okay.
was like, yeah, I'm so excited. It was such an easy decision. Like, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was such an easy decision to just go and play for the Mets because like they're like the real baseball fans in New York.
I mean, I'm mind you, if I signed with the Mets and I had left the Yankees, and all types of reasons why you leave teams, business related, your agent sends you, whatever, team doesn't want you. You end up with the Mets. I probably too would say something along the lines of like, I'm bought into what you guys are doing, and I'm not. My eyes aren't to the past of playing for that team. But to just go up and say that, I mean, I just think that's very stupid.
Oh, I have the exact quote.
Perfect. Go ahead.
You can tell these Mets fans, these are truly baseball fans. They get baseball, not like the other side of town. Okay, so he literally called out the Yankees. That's, wow. Yankees fans. That's crazy. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a nothing burger, just simply because it is AJ Minter. And with all due disrespect, it doesn't make sense to me to say that. It just doesn't. Not when you're playing in the big leagues.
IL, by the way. So we haven't seen him in a minute.
But the dude could be pitching with a 2 ERA. Does it really make practical sense? I mean, if you sign to a new job, do you really need to go do a press conference and do the whole Zoom meeting and say, by the way, guys, the other job I had, they sucked? No, everyone just kind of goes, why would he say that? It's weird. Just a weird thing to say.
Some people are like, I've never heard, and I could tell they're not just like bullshitting. They've never heard of this dude.
Yeah, I mean, we do know those press conferences are almost exclusively BS and just obviously pandering to the audience, just kind of giving the audience.
You would never see
like
Judge do that. You know what I mean? You never see
Judge. No one would do it.
I mean,
Jazz Chisholm left the Marlins. They're not even trying to do anything, and he at the time when he was there, he was perceived as this overrated player with a ton of talent. They had no talent around him. Dudes were banged up. Guys are hurt. People are blaming the training staff. He leaves, gets traded to the Yankees. He didn't show up and go, whew, glad to be playing with the Yankees, a top-tier organization, because those bums down there in Miami. No, he didn't say that because he just has enough common sense to understand that you just don't do that. It's just not professional. So
I agree. All right, let's get to Super Audio Chats is what I was going to say.
Yeah, we're going to have to come up with a new name of it because
too
difficult to remember. Yeah, let's let it fly.
Voicemails. All right, so yeah, let's get to voicemails, and then what we'll do is we'll touch on tomorrow's game just a little bit. We don't need to go too crazy with it. All right. This is from Guy.
Hey guys, big win and statement game by the Yankees tonight, and they're now closer to taking this series. They actually had the Yankees' best chance of winning tomorrow, game 2. Needing to win either game 1 or game 3 for a 2 out of 3 series win. Jason Alexander is pitching tomorrow, a.k.a. George Costanza. And last time he held us down pretty well. I think it was 6 innings, 3 hits. And I don't see that happening again. He's not that good of a pitcher. But he has like a 65% ground ball rate, and it's interesting to see what kind of lineup we put out tomorrow. Because we can beat out some ground balls, and I think we're going to need some speed. I don't see why Dominguez doesn't play. Jazz, he's looking pretty dapper there with his turtleneck, isn't he? But is he really that dumb? He swings 100% at the home run derby, screws up his swing, takes him a long time to start going back to the 70% swing, and now look at him. Yikes. Just a whole different hitter all over again. Anyway, we got some momentum. Let's continue. All right.
So yes, he is. I'm not going to say dumb, but whatever way you want to describe it, that would make you want to swing your hardest all the time. Whatever you would use to describe that, yes, whatever that is, he's got that. Jazz Chisholm is a supremely talented type of guy who's just going to give you that home run derby swing, and every once in a while it's going to really work out. It worked today. The square button was clicking. So good for Jazz, good for our team. The square button. And the beautiful part about this is you guys all told me that these 12 games, you remember that? All those games didn't mean anything. These 12 right here, let's just pay attention to the macro of those 12 games. Let's see what Jazz does over the entirety of it, and we'll judge him then. Because his boomer bust mentality, if it works throughout those series, then we can just say, let's give him his flowers. Maybe this is a little bit more sustainable than we're giving him credit for. Now, I'm not telling you that will happen, but Jake, I do think it's fair to allow Jazz to play this style and see if it works out for him, because we have seen him hit some pretty big home runs for the Yankees. It hasn't all been terrible in the clutch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I understand the frustration. And again, like, we talked about Jazz for a bit, so, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, and kind of to your point, is that people said, like, those don't matter. I kept saying, I think the big thing is establishing some sort of, like, routine and getting into a rhythm that you can carry, because that's the key, right? That's really the key. The best teams beat up on the bad teams. And while they're beating up on the bad teams, they're still playing their brand of baseball. It's easy, or any sport, it's easy to then take that and then just slide it on down to the next series. And that was why I was so overwhelmed and overwhelmingly positive about that extra innings win, because I feel like you're already seeing it, even though they lost, right before the off, like, you're seeing them take that. And it's not just the team momentum. It's a Jazz Chisholm. It's Max Fried. During that win streak, these guys that, found something, well, they're keeping it up. And so that's a big deal. Guy has another one here. Actually, another one.
Okay, this call is totally unprepared. I just had this fear of Jones for quite a while now. Watching him play in the minor leagues, I know he's only been hitting, concentrating on it for 4 or 5 years because he was mostly focused on pitching before. But I've noticed the trend with him when he is possibly going to be injury prone. He's had back spasms 3 different times, and every single time, what happened? I thought I got disconnected. Anyway, I'll keep talking. Now I'm going to start over.
Okay, so there we go.
Yes, hi. I don't know. This got really messed up, but if you heard the beginning part of it, Jones hasn't looked good after he's had injuries. Back spasms a few times, his neck injury. His recent trend down comes after back spasms once again, and I don't know if he recovers well. I think he could be a guy with his big, huge frame that could end up being a guy that's injured often. That's beside the K theory. That's my biggest fear with Jones. Otherwise, his ceiling is high, but his floor is also very low. That's it.
I love that he brought that up.
Reminds me actually a lot of the exact conversation, not even rookie year, 3-4 years down the road of Aaron Judge. Now, again, just because you're tall, people perceive you as injury prone, you strike out a lot, but you have a ton of power, that doesn't mean you're Aaron Judge. And you're probably not, he's not Aaron Judge. I know that for certain. But having said that, Aaron Judge, you're able to right that ship. You're able to fix that. And there are players out there that struggled with injuries early on in their career, whether they tweak their mechanics to fix that, and some players don't. So you might be right of at least raising some flags that could be problems down the road for the Yankees. I don't know. But there's just no way to judge players based on their health, because who would have told you Giancarlo Stanton was going to be a mess physically as a Yankee? No one. Because we traded for him. He was playing 160 games a year for the Marlins. He played every day. He was an Iron Man out in the outfield, and he's not small.
Great athlete,
he's
too.
6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds of just pure muscle. You would just be able to make the projection, oh, that guy's going to be fine. He's going to be a mainstay at least till he's 33, 34. And if he falls off after that, so what? We have him for this long period of time. Well, Spencer Jones may show up, may have a back spasm in the minor leagues, and that may be a recurring issue. But if he shows up to the big leagues and by year 2 or 3, they can settle that in and have it not be a problem, I just think this is a thing. We'll just have no idea which way it bounces, whether that's good or bad.
Yeah, no, I like that it was brought up. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wish it wasn't even a thing because I love Spencer Jones, but I think it's fair. I definitely think it's fair. I've been monitoring that as well since the back spasms. He's had a hard time coming back from that. So, no, you don't know what he is, and there's a lot to learn, but I mean, I still find myself power ranking Jones would be ahead of Dominguez, and that sounds crazy, but I just think Jones's defense and Dominguez's defense, I think that's huge. Because, I mean,
profiles.
We've already seen they don't really trust Jason Dominguez in the field.
Right.
They just don't. So, anyway.
Jalen Sestero, I wanted to throw this up on the screen, who's been a member with us for 11 months. So, Jalen, we really appreciate you being here. Says, how do I upgrade my membership? Been here since the mailbag days. Good times. Now we can leave voicemails. And Jalen, we're also working on, we're going to take in the comment section, because that'll be what I have you guys drop in the comments, is what type of perks would you guys be interested in? We talked about emojis, right? Like all types of stuff like that. And we're open to all ideas there. But Jake, how do we upgrade again? You said it was perks?
Yes. So the way it works is you go to perks. I just rhymed. I hate that. You go to perks. I believe on your phone you can do it. Let me see. You go to
there
perks.
Are a lot of people in the comments saying that you may not be able to upgrade from your iPhone. I don't have no idea if that's the truth.
Well, that would okay. Let me see.
There's potential of that, and I do see my mom's dropped a super. So in the meantime, I will throw her up on the screen, and then I will go back.
See perks.
My mom with the 2 says, "Can you tell these rascals how to change to diamond level?" And we're currently in the process of that, Mom. So
to access the perks, sign in using the account that purchased your current membership on this channel. Okay. So this is the deal. I believe that you have to be on, if you signed up via, it's dumb, but if you sign up via computer, you got to do it on a computer. If you sign up via phone, you got to do it on a phone. That's what it sounds like. But
the computer will for sure work. I mean,
computer will work. I think the phone's a little finicky, so not a guarantee to work. But
yeah, so hopefully that helps, Jalen. And if not, shoot me a message afterwards, and we'll work on it. Not a problem.
That's also what that link is for, the member link that we post. So that is pinned in the chat, but in case anybody does want to upgrade, there's the link. So I would just try it on a computer if you can. I don't know how it works like on an iPad or like I would assume that it's going to bring you to kind of the same thing unless you go into the app on the iPad. But if you do it on like a web browser, that should probably work. But yeah.
On paper. So, yeah, let us know, Jalen, if that works. We're not sure. I would assume that the computer should work. If it doesn't, I don't know what we've got computers for.
Yeah.
And Tate with the 5 says, who's a sleeper pick for a silent leader in the clubhouse? Leader for what?
I mean,
AL East?
Sleeper pick, I'm assuming on the Yankees.
Ooh, okay, I see what we're doing here. Who's a sleeper pick? Okay, I like this. Let me just take a look, because I would thought about this.
It's not Stanton because that's obvious, so he wouldn't be a sleeper.
It's not Ryan McMahon.
No. I would say Garrett Cole.
Okay.
I'd go.
Believe it or not, I think I'm going to surprise you. It doesn't have to.
You're
going to
say Trent Grisham.
Nope.
Oh, really?
This answer is going to surprise you. It is. And I don't think anyone would think I'd answer this way. But remember, I've been talking about pitching for the Yankees and playing for the Yankees is just not overhyped, but just it almost seems like folks are scared of how this will go. Oh, he can't do that because he doesn't have the experience. What's he going to do under the bright lights? He used to perform over there, but he won't do it with us. You know who's just completely evading all that nonsense, all that talk? Cam Schlittler. I love the mentality of Cam Schlittler, and I think he's having an impact. Do I think he's just putting Max Fried under his wing and talking to him? No. But do I think that it's an inspiration to the rest of the locker room of saying, hey, this guy is pitching in a pennant race. He's a rookie, and he's not scared of a lick of what we're doing. Why would I be? Right? I love the mentality of Cam Schlittler. Again, he's not this CC Sabathia, okay, he's going to be the leader and everyone's going to rally around him. But the mentality that he has is so different than what I've seen from any other young player that's played for our team in a while. None of it looks anything similar. I really haven't seen this since I don't know when, Jake. When was the last time you watched a Yankees rookie where you said that guy looks like he's been pitching for 11 years? He's terrifying. I can't name you one. Even though I've seen success, I've seen Luis Gil, I've seen Severino, I never saw a dog mentality that I can locate with this.
Yeah, I mean, Tanaka had the dog, but kind of different. Didn't come up through the
definitely
system.
had more experience. And yeah, guy, 100%. Inspiration, yes. Vocal, no. I don't think he's rah-rah or yelling or vocal. I don't think he's doing any of those things. But I think it's more of a, what Stanton's doing. More of a, I lead by what I do on the field.
Yeah, I mean, Tanaka was definitely a dog, just by the way he carried himself. But again, yeah, I would probably say, yeah, I mean, Schlittler, we're dealing with something different here. I mean, it feels like he's the best pitching like prospect since, for the Yankees, I'm talking about. Since
what numbers he's number 31, I will consider this jersey.
Yeah, it's a great jersey, and 31's a great number. Yeah, I would say we're looking at the best Yankee pitching prospect since Ron Guidry. That's what I would say.
I mean, even if you're wrong, do you see how far?
I had to go all the way back to Ron Guidry. Like,
right.
I mean,
and again, it's more about the mentality. We've seen success. We've seen Luis Severino dominate an entire season of baseball early on. We saw what Luis Gil did, right? There's a reason that people are like, oh, Kyle Tucker, Luis Gil. Would it have worked? We don't know. But there's a reason that name was floated in that conversation, in that breath, is because of the performance. But we're not just talking about the performance of Cam Schlittler. We've seen the good and the bad. But we're starting to see a lot more good than bad. And we're starting to see elite. And the mentality is elite. Like sort of what you see out of a Garrett Cole mentally. You can just see there's levels to the mental part of the game that certain players that you would call stars that are on the mound, they just can't go to that superstar territory. Will Cam Schlittler go to the superstar territory of arms? I have no idea. But he's still going to have to polish a third and fourth pitch. But as far as his mentality goes, I have no doubt that this guy's built to pitch here. I have no doubt in my mind. So that's why I say he's got to be somewhat of a silent leader. I think a silent leader is someone who doesn't talk, right?
I would say Jabba is also up there.
That'll play.
Because, I mean, people forget. I mean, you know, we had Jabba on our show. That first true season as like a rookie, yeah, they did qualify him as a rookie in 2008. So he was 22 and Cam is 24, right? Yeah, he's 24. So Jabba, and this is interesting, right? Because Cam, we're going to bring up his numbers here. Cam Schlittler currently has a 2.61 ERA and a 1.24 whip. Jabba Chamberlain finished his rookie year 2.60 ERA and a 1.25 whip. That's really fascinating to me.
Yeah,
Also,
I think it does
his
send a huge message to be great and just like not overdo what it means playing here.
Yeah, his Ks per 9 innings, 10.6. Schlittler's, we're looking at 10.1. I mean, they're the numbers are very similar. I think the thing about Schlittler, though, is I don't like looking at his overall numbers for the season. I think he's a completely different pitcher than when he started. So the way I see it, right, is I look at his game log. So when you look at his game log and you look at what he has been lately, like you start to see now he's pitching into the 6th inning. That's the thing. He wasn't doing that before. So you go back, his last 4 starts, right? He's just been so good. He has a .76 ERA in his last 4 starts.
Yeah, you need some context, not just what is his ERA, what's the Ks per 9, because I just think that's such a black and white way to evaluate pitching. There are a lot of guys in the league who have low ERAs, but there's more to pitching than just a low ERA or just high Ks. You have to stay on the mound. And one thing we know about the Yankees is some guys have just bought into, no, I'm going to be this 5-inning dude. I'll come off. You can't blame me because I only gave up 1 and he inherited the runner. It's his fault. No, you have a responsibility, and Cam Schlittler's taking that on his rookie year. He's not waiting till year 2 or 3 where people say, no, he's just 24. He's not accepting any of those excuses. He showed up. The slider wasn't working. He's like, I'm going to work to that cutter right away. I can make all these rookie mistakes, or I can look at Max Fried, Garrett Cole, and see those guys in the dugout and fix it right now, and he's done it. So very impressive from Cam Schlittler. Very happy to say he's a Yankee, but Jake, I want to throw in the comment section. I wanted to do this since the beginning. Do we have another voicemail? How many we got? 2. 2 more? We got 5?
We got Kyle and we got Ninja Hot Dog.
Holy crap. Holy
crapola.
Holy crapola. Let him fly. Let's go.
All right, and you guys can put that in the comment section.
Hey, Jake and Gary. This is Kyle Malay. Great game by the Yankees today. Trent Grisham, they need to extend him right now. That was a shot by him into the Crawford boxes. I think that's what it's called. But, and then Jazz with 2 home runs. Oh, thank God for them tonight. And thank God for Fried. Fried was great tonight. And, that's 8 straight games against Houston in Houston. They haven't lost in Houston in a couple years. So, but this is a good start to that 12-game stretch. And let's go win this series because they really need this. And let's go win this division. All right, guys, you have a good day or good night. And tell me what you think about extending Grisham. All right, have a good night. Go Yankees.
Heck yeah.
Well, we appreciate you, Kyle. I would say we've kind of already told you how we feel about extending Grisham, but I would further it with, he's just one of those guys who maybe he's not the sexy superstar, crazy athlete, but I think his presence is felt all over the field, in the clubhouse. Letting a guy like that go would have a ripple effect, and it's not like Juan Soto. Like Juan Soto, he was the superstar. Like it is obvious to know, okay, this is a huge player leaving. No, the scary thing is when a guy like this leaves the building, you're not expecting what you end up getting after. And so I'm a little concerned, like if they do let him walk and they say, we're just all in on Jason Dominguez, you get what you deserve type deal. I could see him going somewhere really, it turns out, because, man, it's going to be a horror movie if the Yankees let him go and it turns out that the Yankees unlock something with him and this is the Trent Grisham here to stay. I actually believe it is.
Yeah, the more likely scenario is that if you replace a star like a Soto and you replace him with vets, like Cody Bellinger was a veteran, Grisham is already on you're talking about, okay, already on a roster, you're going to play. That's a vet. It's been in the league a while. Well, more likely to replace some, if not all, with multiple players, what you got from Soto. The chances that you're just going to lose a player in a career year for him, and then you just replace it with 2 prospects out of the Yankee system in the outfield, not likely. Not impossible, not likely. So the Yankees need to know what they're dealing with. I don't think the Yankees are in a position to make that call. Me personally, that's part of the reason why I just think, because there are people in our comments, and certainly there's people on Twitter, anywhere you look, there are going to be people who say, no, this is a career year. You're just going to have to understand that this was an outlier. He'll regress, and you just see what you got with the young guys. That's not a risk-free play. When you bring in someone like Spencer Jones or or Jason Dominguez, those players aren't a sure thing. They're prospects for a reason. Otherwise, they would be on the big league team right now or just playing every day, and they don't, right? Jason Dominguez is on the bench. So there is risk no matter which way you go. You just have to make the decision of which risk you want to take. And more times than not, paying the veteran works out, just not for the entirety of the contract. It usually just works for the first year or two, and then it's a ridiculous contract after that, but that's baseball. You get what you pay for. Players rarely ever, especially players at 28, 29, they're rarely ever great for the entirety of a deal. So you just got to take what they give you.
No, it's true. All right, last one here. We got Ninja Hot Dog.
Woke up. I'm back from vacation, and for the first time in forever, the Yankees beat a good team. I'm very shocked. Grisham got some home runs. He got a grand slam. Jazz got 2 home runs, which I thought he was going to do nothing after he was talking up such a big game. But he did hit 2 home runs, so I'm going to give him credit for that. Good job. I still think he needs to quiet down, but hey, if he can do it, it's not that big of an issue. I liked Caballero. He had that good fight in him when he got ejected. Even though he did swing, I like to see that he had fight in him. And also, they need to stop pulling Stanton. Why are we pulling Stanton in the 7th inning for defensive purposes? It is not helping. He is not hitting anymore because it is messing with him, and we need to play him every game, all 9 innings. Fire Baboon.
Doesn't matter what type of run we go on. Boone, you're gone.
It just makes it funnier now because he's like, now you know he's committed. So it could be like the Yankees win 20 straight, and you know Ninja Hot Dog's still going to say Fire Baboon at the end of the voicemail.
I think the greatest thing that could ever happen is we go out there and clinch a World Series title, and we still get a Fire Baboon.
We still would.
We would. It'll be
it's
electric.
a bit now. Like there's no other way to do it. But no. Appreciate you, Ninja. I will say this. I'm going to defend Boone here. I actually understand why they took out Stanton. This is a game that was pretty well in hand. You're taking control. Blackburn is pitching. Like, they felt really good about their win. The last thing you want is for Stanton to go down with an injury and a meaningless. Like,
what was the
game's
score up
kinda
until that point?
It was 6-1, I believe.
If the Yankees need the bat of Giancarlo Stanton, after it's already 6-1, you guys have already crapped the bed.
Exactly.
You guys have ruined. I don't know what you did, but the game is just completely a mess. So I just fully agree with the move. I understand the premise. Like, we saw it earlier in the year. Do you remember when Boone lied to us and said, no, we're not going to take Jason Dominguez out late in a game because we want his bat? And then all of a sudden it was 2-2, and they took him out the very next day for a defensive replacement.
He wasn't going to put Stanton in left field, and we just saw that today. So,
right. So they don't tell you the truth.
No.
And sometimes it's the wrong decision, like those Dominguez choices where he actually had the hot bat. Remember, he had the 3 home run day. Then we didn't want to see him pulled for defensive replacements, and he does it the following day. That made no sense, and we criticize him. In this situation, you're preserving a lead. If you can't preserve a 6-1 game on the road late in a game, you're a bad baseball team, and you deserve to lose. So I thought the move made a lot of sense. You don't want to see Stan have to come out the field, but that's part of the liability that you are being in the position you're in. He can't go out there defensively. So I thought the move was sound. I did.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we appreciate Ninja, Kyle, Guy. Thank you so much, as always, for participating with the voicemails. So we got that, and wrap it up.
Oh, we already did that.
Oh, okay, we did. Okay.
Yeah, because we were helping Jalen with the diamond level. So hopefully I'll probably shoot him a message just to give him an opportunity to, I don't know, we can try and hash it out. Tech sucks.
Yeah. All right, so was it Holy Crapola?
Oh, is that what we're doing?
I don't know.
Because I wanted to have them drop in the comment section. what your guys' idea would be as to another perk that we can add to our memberships for our diamond level. Is there anything you guys would be interested in? Drop in the comment section some perks that you guys would want. I know you guys talked about the emojis, so we can have some type of a distinction there. But let us know give us a suggestion of what you guys would want to see in the comment section. We'll be reading all of them. We'll be taking those in and see what you guys say. But we really appreciate you guys. We had over 500 people in here for a really long while, over 2 hours. So thank you guys for being in here. Please be sure to subscribe, mainly with 454 people in here. Hopefully there were a lot of likes already. Please like the video. Helps us out a ton with the algorithm. I don't know if it actually does anything, but like it anyways, just in case.
And hit that hype button.
Yeah. Like it.